Okay, so I have my slip ready. I've got my fork for scoring. I've also got some texture tools. We have both stamps and these rolling texture tools. Let me lock it in. Okay, and again, you're making the rain stick. So today we're going to try and close the form into a cylinder. So yesterday we draped it and stored it in plastic. It still should have stiffened up a little bit just because of the exposure of increased surface area, more exposure to air, but it still should be pliable and soft. Leather hard is the stage we're going for. Okay, so I'm taking it out of the plastic. I've got the cylinder, and again, it's kind of holding its shape. Yesterday, mine was kind of struggling to stay up, so I did roll a piece of newspaper inside, so I'm going to take that out. And look, it really is, it's holding its shape. I'll be able to work with it, right? Okay, so I do have these wooden dowels that we can use today. This is about 12 inches too, which is what we want the length of ours to be. If it's a little bigger, if it's a little shorter, that's okay. The 12 inches is about right. And this can go in the middle, again, as a support thing, and wood won't stick to it. Okay, so it can be as wide, it can be wider than this dowel if you want, but we don't want it any thinner. It's going to need to wrap around there. So mine already kind of, just from sitting on itself, stuck together, but we know from experience that's not enough to really hold it. We're going to need to score and slip, so I'm going to peel mine apart, and if yours collapsed, as long as you still have your slab, you can move it, you can mess with it and fix it up. Okay, so I'm going to peel it apart carefully, and it really is holding its shape quite well. Okay, so it's in that curved shape. Even letting it go, it doesn't just flop down because it is in that leather hard stage. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to make this the underneath end because we're going to overlap these sections. So scoring, get it. No one's going to see this inside part. We don't need to make it look pretty. But from top to bottom, I'm going to make sure I have enough. And like mine starts to curve there, so I could cut it if I wanted to. I could take one of these carving tools or one of these credit cards and make a straight edge there. I'm not going to worry about it just yet. Okay, so I've got it nice and scratched up. Scratch before you attach. Now I'm getting my slip. I'm going to work the slip into all of those crevices, add some more crevices. This makes a nice sticky attachment, right, so that it's going to glue together and not come apart on us. And again, no one's going to see this part, so it doesn't need to look pretty in there. Okay, I'm going to do it on this underside too. No one's going to see the inside. I'm getting slipped and scoring. Then when I attach it, it really won't be able to go anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have enough overlap. I've got that wooden dowel in the middle. And I'm going to press all these together into a cylinder. Okay, so it's already squishing together, right? You can see my seam there. Now is when I use my fingers to try and smooth that out and really connect them together. Can y'all see it up there? Okay. We listening back there? Okay, so it's smoothing out, smoothing out. I did some designs on it yesterday. We'll just add back over the designs where I need to. I didn't add any more clay. I'm just overlapping what I had. Okay, and you'll work on smoothing out that seam so you can't even see it. All right, you can even roll this a little bit on your canvas board to make sure. I still have kind of a bump here where that seam is, so I'm going to work on evening that out. as I go. Okay, and mine is a little bit bigger than that wooden dowel in the middle. That's fine. But that will add a support. I know this angle's not very good. Okay, but what I can do as well from the inside, if I can take out my wooden dowel, you can see the seam on the inside too, right? Okay, we can work on smoothing it in the inside too. That way there's no way for that clay to go. You can use a spoon or the handle of a fork or handle of something, and where your fingers can't reach, and smooth out that inside. No one's going to see it, but we want that seam really secure, right? So go from both ends, carefully looking down there. Can y'all see in there? And I'm smoothing it out. Okay, and you go all the way down there to smooth it out. And anytime you're pressing on the outside of the clay, I would put the dowel back in. That way, when you press down, it can't go all the way down. It can't fall in on itself on you. Okay, so let's say I'm happy with that and I'm finished with the smoothing. Then I can go in and add my textures, which can also help hide the seam, right? And then any uneven edges, I want these edges to be squared off. Now's when I'm going to cut them. So like I didn't quite have enough clay here for that edge, so I can make a incision and go around to cut that off and make sure that my edge is square. Right? So now I've got a square edge there, a little bit better. And again, if it's not quite right, you can tap it down. And now I've got a nice square edge around there instead of it being like this one where you see an edge there. I'll have to fix that side too. What questions do you have so far while I'm recording? Any good questions? Something you're confused about? Anything I missed?
So how do you get like, you can't get all the way in the middle?
Can't get all the way in the middle? Yeah, it's okay. Go as far as you can and use, like, you can get pretty far with this, right, to try and smooth. And pretty far from this side to smooth. That's why we don't want them going much bigger than the dowel, right, than the 12-inch, the 1-foot dowel. If you've attached all the way on the outside and as far in as you can, if there's a little bit that you just can't reach on the inside, it's not going anywhere at that point, okay? Good question. Any other questions? Yeah.
How is it going to make the noise?
Okay, good. Okay, so how's it going to make the noise? You can check out mine here. And you can see I have these little pins put in, these little circles. They're in the shape of golf tees. So I did a swirl pattern, and we'll get to this, the swirl pattern of them. And so each time they're there, there's like a stick within there, sticking through. And so when the beads fall from one end to the other, it hits the pin as it goes. And the more pins you have, the more sounds it'll make, the longer that sound will take to travel through. Okay, so after we get this cylinder, that's what we're doing, adding pins. The next step that we'll probably do tomorrow, I think, tomorrow will be good, is adding a cylinder or a circle right here and attaching it and it being attached, because one end we're going to go ahead and close up. The other end we won't close up because we got to add the beads. But yeah, that'll be tomorrow, I think. And that'll also help your thing hold its shape. Any other questions? Those are good questions. Yeah.
That one looks shorter. Is it because, like, when you made yours, you used a longer stick? Or?
Yeah. So when I made mine, it's a little narrower than this one's going to be, and it was much longer. Yep. It was just from a class I took over the summer to learn how to do them. With our lockers, we wanted to also limit y'all to this size so that it can fit, as well as our kiln restraints. Okay. I think that's good.